Hello, Jerry.
Hey,
How are you, Jerry?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Good. People are waiting for you. So,
Sure.
can you share the PPT? Can you check once before?
Just see, is it visible?
Which one? Yeah, you are visible. Can you share the visible? Can you share the PPT? Yes, it is visible.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you give introduction about yourself and session so that people will start listening?
Okay, sure. Let me do a quick introduction. First of all, thank you so much. It's pretty late on a Sunday night. I'll keep the discussion talk very simple and not. Don't think it can take 30 minutes. It's raining from morning in Bangalore, so the network is really bad. You have to apologize for that. So I'm Jerry, working as an agile coach out of Bangalore. I've been with the agile community for more than now 13, 14 years. So that's me. And the small topic I wanted to talk about is basically of Pair. Pair is a Tamil word which means crop in English. So I want to talk about a teal organization, but I'm not going to go talk anything about teal organization, agile transformation, none of that. So if you are hoping I'm going to talk about any of those, again, sorry for that. It's about a different story, but I just wanted to map it back because this is where something I learned a lot really is true agility and what is true empowerment, what is true self-organization. And I just wanted to share the story with a wider audience. So with that, this is the story about initiative. It's been 15 years. The more detail about this, it's an NGO or a grassroots transformation, especially in a tier 2, 3, 4, small in the very southern part of India.
Jerry, your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. No? Your voice is breaking.
Yeah. The problem with the network. So probably let me switch off the video so that it will be a little more better.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Okay, we can start your presentation. I'm leaving I'm doing the background. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Jerry. Can continue.
Sure. Okay, let me continue. Let's see, is there any, if still you're not able to hear that, let me try to make it a little more better by switching off my video. So the first story I want to talk about is a thing, as I said, called Pair. See more detail about the Pair.org. So it's about empowering villages. That was the goal. So this is the goal this organization is functioning for the past 15 years. It's a grassroots level organization in India that helps empower rural communities through holistic development and activities. It's based out of South India, so it more work with more than 22 panchayats and 18 villages in two or I think 3 panchayats. So if you know the Indian way of villages and panchayat, so it's working on the very, very rural. It operates from, I would say, just wanted to show the picture. That is this. If you know the southern part, it almost take not 6 hours more. It takes more than that. If you take a car drive, 7 hours plus. It is based out of a very small village called Tennur, which is near Trichy. And what do they focus is on health and sanitation, education, nutrition, skill, and livelihood governance, sustainable farming. But what it makes very unique about this is the place they operate. They don't operate from any of the tier 1 cities, or they don't have a limelight picture. They operate from a very small rural area. That makes it more interesting, and also at the same time, this makes this organizational work more challenging and at the same time rewarding. It's 17 years of their journey. I know personally, they have improved the nutrition level of 35,000 children. I just wanted to touch upon a little later about that. And provided a health care of more than 15,000 village people. And that's the money they spend through donation and doing a lot of other activities. And they bootstrapped 10 rural entrepreneurship. And if you really look at who the people really done this, this is a picture consists of some of the grassroots team. If you go to their website, they talk about the people. Let me just put that.
Why is it breaking? Can you use the mic? Why is breaking today?
Okay. Probably I need to switch off the video then. I'm not on speaker. I'm in the, what do you call? Yeah, as I said, today the network is really bad because of the climate and the rain and some of the other development work happening in my area in Bangalore. So sorry about that. Let me try to make it a little shorter. Yeah, thank you. So if you look at this, the people who behind all of this, what I talked about, are the people from this village. So that is what we call it as a force behind. And what motivated them is the passion for these people to change their lives to create a better future for themselves. And the team is highly enthusiastic to take any task that makes the community better and more stronger. Thanks, Harish. It's clear. So if you look at from this from an outside, it looks a simple initiative, but they focus on the grassroots transformation of a livelihood of villages from the villages which are more from Perambalur district. If you look at the South India, especially Tamil Nadu and the district, Perambalur stand on the bottom second. It's one of the highly drought hit. So it's not a very, it has got its own challenges from social classes, from all possible things, you name it, you can find. So there are two things I just wanted to point out, because when I visited this place, I was very surprised to see some of the things which they don't even know that what they are doing it. But they have done a lot of things which, as a lot of agile coaches, we struggled to bring it in the corporate world. The screen picture, what you are seeing, this is a nutrition program. They've been doing it, they've done it for more than 5 years. So the background and a quick background about this program, they have done an initiative is, this is for the primary school kids, especially studying in the government school, where they have anemic, most of them are anemic, and they have the malnutrition problem. So these are the government data, government with some of the village rural officers sponsored and started this initiative. What is interesting, if you look at the picture, is the picture is little small, but if you look at on the left-hand side, we see a coding system. They use a coding system to transport this because they cover more than, they almost cover, they cover more than, I would say, how many people, I just want to give the proper data, but every day they serve more than 3,400 school kids. So they go to 18 government school from class 6 to 12, and it's a nutritional laddu, we call them. And what is very interesting is it is covered by a van, and they travel 180 kilometers every day. And so they carry this in the morning, drop it, and they come back, and the next day they carry the next box and they pick up the yesterday's one, which is the empty box. And every school has got different set of kits, so the number should match, and they design similar to the other things we already know, have a coding system, a color number system. And also from their experience, they figure out the easiest and the best possible shortest route, because they need to save the petrol for the vehicle. And these are the things are done by the people, and most of them are never passed out of a school. I know quite a few of them, the maximum they have studied as a formal education, not more than first standard. So for them, how to make this itself is a learning, because most of the people who have done this come from are from farmers, so they don't have a formal education. But when this whole initiative was started, when they have been trained on this, they have done that with passion, they've done with the pride, and they do their best to make it more effective, because there is a social impact attached. It was a pretty successful program because it caters to the malnutrition. And there's another initiative I just wanted to touch upon, because these two initiatives, I have seen them very closely. So this is what they call it as the woman empowerment, because the place where this operates is basically the predominantly agricultural is the main source of livelihood. And because of the heavy drought in that area, mostly the women at home, again, most of them are not educated, so it's not experts compared with their lifestyle in the city side. You usually try to you can see these people try to do something to have a little bit of income. And some of these people joined together with the support of the PIA. They started this activity, which we call them as Turihai, as a brand mark. What they try to do is, it was started with one woman went and learned a little bit about how to make these bags. And at present, they run with 7 women. They do this, and they have produced and sold more than 15,000 bags. What is more important in this is it helped them to upskill, it helped them to expertise in what they do so that they can make a sustainable living. So a lot of this, especially this, what it tried to do is, as I showed in the goal, they try to create something which is sustainable, and also they try to find an opportunity within the constraint they live with. And they usually focus on the 5 areas, which I have shared earlier. Some of them, I'm not going to go deeper, but I just wanted to point out, when I know these people, and when I was talking about with some of my coaches who work in the Agile industry, Agile coaches, a lot of people talk very proudly about this word, TEAL organization. Most of the Agile coaches talk about TEAL organization, reinventing organization, book by Frederick. I'm sure you all know about that, right? So this is the definition of the TEAL organization, which is an emerging organizational paradigm that advocate enabling employee autonomy and to adapt as an organization it grows. And the book was made available in 2014. But it is still organizations, coaches are working so hard. I don't think I need to explain about a TEAL organization. And if you look at a little bit about the TEAL organization, these are the 3 things which define a TEAL organization is the following 3 ideas: self-management, wholeness, evolutionary purpose. And majority of the time, as an Agile coach, we talk about that. What surprised me, what challenged me is, because I work in the same as an Agile coach, I work with based out of Bangalore, work with corporate. What we struggle as an agile coach, we call ourselves as change agent, we call ourselves as enablers, we call them as whatever we are, but we struggle so much to bring a simple change with the teams, with the technical people, with the management layer. But there are organizations which have no idea. They have no idea. They have not heard about Agile. They have not heard about team organization. They have not heard about self-management. They have not heard about self-organizing, etc., etc., etc. They are able to demonstrate that in a more effective way, more collaborative way. So this was a question which struck me, and I don't have an answer, to be very honest. I'm still trying to figure out what does that mean. So when I wanted to talk about this topic, I just wanted to talk about this specifically because a lot of time when organization or some of the people talk about deal organization, many times people go and take examples from Morningstar, from California, etc., etc., etc. Which again, sometimes I question myself, does that we don't have this kind of organization in our place, where the place I live, where the place my friend work? Are we so obsessed with westernized way to look at stuff? Are we not opening ourselves as an agile coach? Are we not challenging our own belief system? Are we not really doing the change agent work? Or are we just doing it, talking about it without really knowing what does that mean? So these are some of the challenges or the questions I had. I'm not really sure about what does that mean in everybody's other people's opinion. So that's why when this whole thing came into picture, I just wanted to quickly give a quick presentation about this. And this person, who is called Senthil, he is the founder of this peer. Fortunately or unfortunately, we both studied engineering together, so it was a relationship for more than 30 years. 91, we both started engineering. We both passed out in 95. 98, he joined IBM Bangalore as a software, moved to US, came back in 2005 and started his dream of Payir. So I know him for 30 years now, so I know a lot more better because when we were together in the college hostel, there was no internet. So it's more of time pass, just sit and talk, go to movies. And what he has done, I know him very closely because still the relationship is maintained. And sometimes he jokingly, 2 years back when we met at college gathering, he asked me, hey, I know you are doing something called Agile and what is that? What you do? Tell me. I just told him, that's all, I can just put it for my LinkedIn profile. Don't ask me all of that. Because I don't think I can justify my role to him what he does or what his team does. So that is my experience. That's my experience of an organization which I can relate to TEAL. I'm very glad that they don't name themselves as a TEAL organization. They don't name themselves as a self-managing team. They just do what they do. When they don't know, they ask, they take the help. They are so proud of what they are doing it. I know last time when I visited 2 years before, there was a farmer because of the no rain. They were trying to build a building, so he learned how and became a mason. And we started doing that with so much of dedication and interest. We talk about T-shaped programmers. So everything and anything, when I try to see in the Agile, I see a lot more better examples to share in my experience. Again, I might be wrong, but as of now, that's what my experience. I have seen this a lot beautifully executed and done by the people outside of the world where we live. So that's about the story of TEAL organization, which I know, which I just wanted to share with the global audience. One other thing I would like to share is when you are going out as a coach, as a change agent, look for examples outside of the work, what we do. Don't try to relate what you're doing Agile. No, there's nothing to do with that. It's a common sense. but see how they are operating and what we are not able to bring back in our work as mental coach as part of the transformation. And if you have time, please spend some time to take a look at fire.org. What I have tried to do is I don't want to make it like a marketing, so I just took the two places to share. You can see more details, or feel free to get back to me in my LinkedIn or in wherever way you want to connect with me. I'm happy to share more details on a one-on-one basis. So that's the thing I wanted to share. I wanted to say thank you so much for your time. I hope you got some different perspective of anti organization. That's what my purpose and intention of making this talk. Any question? I'm happy to answer that. Yes, Ajay, I am done. So, I promise I finished it early.
Yeah, I think we have done. I think so. So we don't have any questions. I think. As of now, there is no questions.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't have any questions. I think so.
Sure.
Can anyone have any questions? Please let us know in the chat. Please let us know if any questions. We'll wait, Jerry. Wait, Jerry. So one question is there. As you mentioned, the example of whereas the implementation is done, who is different?
Okay.
If the implementation is done within a team in parallel, what kind of improvement will be done and how is different from Dabbawala?
Honestly, I did not attend the Dabbawala's meeting. Neither I don't have much experience on what they do. As I said, I prefer to talk about something where I associated and been with them. I can talk a lot more about this one because, as I said, I know them for 30 years. He's my college friend. So I have seen them, what they're doing it. It is not to compare. So I think that's the first thing we need to stop doing it. Everybody's doing their own whatever they could do. But there is a context to that. It's very difficult to compare a great social service happening in a city to a very, very rural place, any part of the India especially, because I'm not getting more deeper into the challenges they have faced. For example, we start from the caste system. I hope you can connect to the problems. The inter-religion politics, the government challenges at the village level. There are so many things you need to really, if you see, be there, you understand how difficult it is to even to get a simple signature done. So it is not about how do they improve it. What is important is what they have achieved within the constraint of the social economical class, the divisions and all of those. And what are the smallest things they can be able to still, as those people, the picture what I have shown them. As I said, they all studied, education is their life. They don't have a formal education. But they are so interested to learn, contribute, and see how they can improve as a group, as a purpose. So, and if you go deeper, most probably the underlying principles might be the same, but the way they have achieved that might be different.
Any other questions? Any other questions for Jerry?
Okay, thank you so much. And it's almost too late. So have a wonderful late evening on Sunday. Enjoy the closing session and let's catch up sometime. Thank you so much. Thanks, Ajay. See you later. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry, for presentation and thanks for your insights.
Sure. Thank you. Bye.